Dear colleagues and friends, a very good morning from The Hague in the Netherlands, and a warm welcome to the live announcement of the 2021 list of 7 most endangered heritage sites in Europe. My name is Snežka Kvatović-Mihajlović, and I'm the Secretary General of Europa Nostra. I'm delighted to be the host of this online event. We wish to make the most out of the digital technologies at hand in the trying times of the pandemic, but this also allows us to reach an even wider audience in Europe and beyond. We are happy to see the great interest this event has attracted, with almost 500 registered participants and around 250 people already connected. To kick off today's event, let me briefly introduce to you the 7 Most Endangered, Europa Nostra's flagship program for saving Europe's heritage at risk. This program was launched in 2013 by Europa Nostra, with the European Investment Bank Institute as founding partner and the Council of Europe Development Bank as an associated partner. Currently, the scheme also benefits from the support of the Creative Europe program of the European Union. We are therefore particularly honored and pleased to greet the presence this morning with us of our guest of honor, Maria Gabriel, European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth. She will address us after the announcement of the final list of 7 most endangered sites for 2021. Good morning, dear Commissioner. Thank you for being with us. The aim of this program is to provide our support to heritage communities across Europe who need it the most. It is an expression of European solidarity and a call for joint action. Our purpose is to mobilize a wide range of stakeholders to save these sites together. We therefore see our 7 most endangered list as a beacon of hope and as a catalyst for positive change. There are many features of this program that makes us particularly proud. Let me stress only 2. Firstly, the vital role that civil society plays in preserving heritage at risk. The 7 most endangered program evidences that civil society is a proactive stakeholder and can act as a watchdog when heritage is in danger. This scheme is truly an example of civil society in action. There is a truly civil society ownership of this program, and the decision and the selection of the 7 most endangered sites is in the hands of an independent, first of all, advisory panel composed of experts and civil society representatives. And finally, the final decision is taken by the board of Europa Nostra. But civil society, of course, cannot act alone. In particularly at a time of crisis, the heritage world must build bridges with all institutions, but also with the financial world. This is why we are thankful for the sustained commitment of the European Investment Bank to support and advance the heritage cause. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends, today we have come together to ring the alarm bells before irreplaceable evidence of Europe's history and culture undamaged or lost forever. May this online event mark the first step towards our collective mobilization to save the selected 7 most endangered sites in Europe. But that let us also express our solidarity for many other heritage sites which need our support. It is now my great pleasure to give the floor to high representatives of the 2 main partners of the 7 most endangered program. Firstly, let me take you to Luxembourg and introduce Guy Claus. Before becoming the executive president of Europa Nostra, he was an eminent expert and economist at the European Investment Bank. It was during his mandate as Dean of the European Investment Bank Institute that the Seven Most Endangered Program partnership was launched back in 2013. And we are very proud that Guy Cloos is today the Executive Vice President of Europa Nostra. Dear Guy, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the public announcement of the 7 most endangered sites in Europe for 2021. This is the first online event dedicated to the 7 most endangered, and it is a real pleasure to see what this program has already achieved within a few years from its inception in 2013. Thanks to this program, currently at its 6th edition, we raise awareness about the fragile conditions of invaluable cultural heritage sites. We want to act as catalysts, bringing an invaluable culture, bringing a positive change, hope, and joint action for a brighter and sustainable future for these European heritage jewels. In this context, we are very proud of the long-standing and invaluable cooperation with the European Investment Bank Institute. We have worked together now on this flagship program for almost a decade. And in addition, we cooperate on other projects and policy topics, such as the recently published European Cultural Heritage Green Paper. The bank, which is an institution I know from having worked with it for 30 years before my retirement, has supported cultural heritage projects for years and has shown through its institute a particularly strong commitment to saving heritage at risk. A clear proof of this commitment is EIB's decision in 2020 to increase the support for our 7 most endangered program. Accordingly, since last year, the program runs on a yearly basis. Also, since this year, eligible selected sites can be awarded an EIB heritage grant of up to 10,000 euros as a sort of seed money to help launch the efforts to save the endangered sites for present and future generations. And through the 7 Most Endangered program, Europa Nostra and the EIB Institute have mobilized multidisciplinary teams of technical and heritage experts to undertake missions and assessments for the selected endangered sites and to formulate recommendations and feasible action plans for each of them. Let me give you some numbers. Since the beginning of the program, a total of 43 sites has been selected from 26 countries all over Europe. And that goes from, say, Portugal in the southwest, to Russia in the north, to Georgia in the southeast. We are very proud that in the meantime, a number of these sites have been saved. Our program has thus proven that it is possible to move endangered sites and monuments out of what you could call their danger zone. I give you a couple of examples. The Carrion of the Mafra National Palace in Portugal, with 2 bell towers from the 18th century, which are now fully functional again after 20 years of silence and abandonment. This was made possible after a complex and much needed restoration process. Another example is the historic stage machinery of the Bourla Theatre in Antwerp in Belgium, which will soon be rehabilitated following the positive decision by the local authorities. Now, both sites were included in the 7 Most Endangered program already in 2014, which proves that positive results mostly do not happen overnight. To accomplish lasting and sustainable results takes often time. It certainly takes efforts, dedication, and commitment at all levels and by all actors involved, notably those also on the local ground. However, despite such success stories, there is still much to do. Europe's heritage continues threatened by many factors. Climate change and related hazards and other natural hazards, by neglect or abandonment, by difficult economic circumstances, by market land speculation, or by wrong political choices, just to mention the main ones. Also, it is true that the seven most endangered mechanism as such, with its annual rhythm, does not always cope well with the needs of specific projects. That's why we sometimes also undertake other ad hoc activities. In November 2020, Europa Nostra issued an urgent statement calling for the preservation of the antiquities discovered when building the Venizelos metro station in Thessaloniki in Greece. Also in July 2020, we called for the cultural heritage integrity of the Hagia Sophia monument in Istanbul. Last but not least, I must also mention heritage damaged or destroyed due to armed conflicts, such as the most recent one in the region of Nagorno-Karabakh in the Caucasus. Let me come to an end. It is Europa Nostra's determination to assist endangered heritage and their nominators whenever and wherever we can. We can help them by working together, by cooperating, and by finding new and creative solutions with the indispensable involvement of local actors and communities. It is the passionate people on the ground and heritage supporters from diverse backgrounds who are driving force, the driving force to save these important heritage jewels. Europe's cultural heritage is a vital part of our daily lives, of our economy, of our social cohesion, and of our well-being. Let us support these sites for their own benefit, for the benefit of the communities to whom they belong, and for the benefit of all Europeans. These sites are much more than only bricks and stones. They tell a crucial part of our European story. They bridge our past, present, and future, and they connect our local, national, and European identities. Therefore, they are the memory and the soul of our Europe. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Guy Clos, dear Guy, for this comprehensive explanation of the mission and the ambition of the Seven Most Endangered program. And thank you in particularly for showing that the whole idea is that these sites that are selected are as soon as possible taken out of that list. It's not the point that it stays forever. On the contrary, we want to work all together that as soon as possible, we celebrate a success story and the fact that all together we managed to save these sites. From Luxembourg, we will go to Lisbon, where I would like to greet very warmly Francisco de Paula Coelho, Dean of the European Investment Bank Institute, our long-standing and invaluable partners. And we have been, as you have heard, been collaborating for almost a decade for the benefit of Europe's heritage and in particularly for the saving of Europe's endangered heritage. Bon dia, Lisboa. Bon dia, Francisco. The floor is yours.
Bon dia and a very warm good morning from sunny Lisbon indeed. Dear Commissioner Gabriel, dear Guy, dear Sneska, dear heritage friends. We are back. 3 weeks ago, we were launching, along with our friends and partners from Europa Nostra and ICOMOS, and with the support of Commissioner Gabriel, the Cultural Heritage Green Paper, a groundbreaking study about how heritage can contribute to the success of the European Green Deal. The European Green Deal aims to make Europe the first carbon-free continent by 2050. This will not only require money, it will also require everybody's best efforts, including the heritage community. Everybody needs to be on board, propose solutions, and bring ideas. And this is why this report is important, and if you have not read it yet, I strongly encourage you to do so. Today, here we are again, Europa Nostra and the European Investment Bank Institute, the usual suspects, united to safeguard European heritage and to announce the 2021 7 most endangered sites in Europe. We started the program together 8 years ago already, with the idea to use the expertise of volunteer EIB engineers and experts to safeguard heritage sites in danger. The idea behind this innovative cooperation was to mix, on the one hand, the cultural expertise and lobbying work of Europa Nostra, who selects the sites to safeguard in full independence, and let me underline this, that this is a selection process in which the EIB does not interfere, and on the other hand, the technical appraisal and rescue planning skills of the EIB staff. As you know, the EIB is the EU bank, financing every year hundreds of investment projects in many areas, from water to education, from health to railroads, and according to its priorities: SMEs, innovation, infrastructure, and climate. But before we decide to finance, being a new tramway line, being a new university campus, or the renewable of a city center, these projects are carefully screened, not only financially, but also technically, and for their social, environment, and climate impacts by our engineers and experts. This technical assessment is what sets us apart from profit-oriented banks, and it is this cumulated experience that constitutes, I believe, our greatest value added to the 7 Most Endangered program. Our engineers and experts extend their contribution pro bono to the safeguard of endangered cultural sites. They assess the current state and the extent of the damaged sites and what it would take to rescue them, often being involved in the discussion with local civil society, local authorities, and stakeholders to find solutions. Allow me on this occasion to thank my current and former colleagues for their precious contribution. In addition to this expertise, as of this year, as mentioned by Guy, we will also provide seed money. Each of the 7 projects today will be eligible for an EIB Institute grant of up to 10,000 euros, provided they have a viable use for it. It is a limited amount of money, but might not in itself save the site. But think how crucial it might be to finance the feasibility study for safeguarding an endangered monument, or to finance the tarpaulin needed to protect a church without a roof. Ladies and gentlemen, at the Institute and at the EIB, we recognize the importance of cultural heritage, of what cultural heritage means for Europeans. This is why we have decided to increase our support to make the 7 Most Endangered an annual event, and this is why we have created a new program of the Institute dedicated to climate and heritage. But I know you are now eagerly waiting to know who are the 7 most endangered sites for 2021, and I don't want to keep you more than needed. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Francisco, and special gratitude to you and the European Investment Bank for the trust that you have placed in an organization of civil society, Europa Nostra, to carry out this vital task. And it is really for us a huge encouragement to have such a powerful and such a dedicated partner. So it gives us optimism and encouragement that we can indeed save all these sites. So the moment has arrived to discover which are the 7 heritage treasures that have been selected for the 2021 edition of our 7 Most Endangered program. The short list of 12 sites was made by an international advisory panel of experts, and subsequently, the board of Europa Nostra has made the choice of the final list of 7 most endangered sites. Let's play the video that will unveil these 7 sites. Video, please. Following the announcement of the 2021 list of the 7 most endangered sites in Europe, it is my honor and great pleasure to give the floor to Madam Maria Gabriel, European Commissioner for Innovation, Research, Culture, Education and Youth. Thank you so much, Madam Commissioner, for being here with us today. Your support is vital, as much as the support of all European Union institutions. Only together we can save endangered heritage across Europe. Madam Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Thank you, dear Secretary General, dear Snežka, dear Executive Vice President, dear Francisco, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends of cultural heritage. First of all, thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity to share this particularly important moment dedicated to the preservation of our cultural heritage. I would like to start by saying again that our cultural heritage is a rich and diverse mosaic of cultural and creative expressions, which we have inherited from previous generations. And as generations come and go, everyone is inspired by what is left behind. These bind us together. And cultural heritage matters since it helps build people's identity, strengthen social cohesion, foster mutual understanding, and at the same time, act as a source of economic growth and jobs. So, the essential role that cultural heritage plays in the lives of citizens, so well as in the economy, is undeniable. However, cultural heritage is at risk. Climate change, natural disasters, but also the damages caused by human actions, be it accidental or intentional, these poses serious dangers. And we are all here today because we share one purpose, ensuring that our heritage is safeguarded. Only then can we leave a lasting legacy for those to come. And indeed, thank you very much, Europa Nostra. Thank you, Europa Nostra, because you answered to this call. Your continued work on heritage at risk is remarkable, and we are all very grateful. For 8 years now, the 7 Most Endangered program raises awareness among authorities and stakeholders, thus contributing to the preservation and restoration of cultural heritage sites. The listing of an endangered site often serves as a catalyst of positive change. And I already remarked that this keyword catalyst was mentioned a lot today. So it's one of our key messages, catalyst and incentive for mobilization of the necessary public or private support, including funding. And you have my full support and the support of the European Commission through our European Creative Europe program, the different other instruments that I will mention a little bit later. And I'm so glad that we have this excellent partnership with the European Investment Bank. I'm really pleased to see that this year's cultural heritage sites can benefit not only from the expert advice, but also from financial support provided by European Investment Bank. And here I would like to highlight 3 of the most pressing challenges we face: climate change, natural hazards, and conflicts. First, climate change. We all know that climate change has a huge impact on our culture. We see the effects of this challenge in the already announced final list of the 7 selected heritage sites. The Giusti Garden in Verona, for instance, was hit by a number of strong thunderstorms that are not typical for northern Italy, but which have become more and more frequent in recent years. Also nominated, the 5 southern Aegean islands of Greece are in jeopardy of losing their unique heritage due to their possible transformation into an industrial zone of wind turbine parks. I share the concerns of Europa Nostra, so well explained in the paper, Putting Europe's Shared Heritage at the Heart of the European Green Deal, that I had the honor to present, to be together with you at the 22nd of March. And this is a vital issue, and I'm really proud that we are working together on this. So allow me here to say 2 things. Right at the beginning of 2021, we launched 2 new expert groups focusing on cultural heritage and climate change, and on the cultural dimension of sustainable development. I think that it will be important to continue to follow this work very closely, and at the same time to join forces. I would like to mention too Horizon 2020 program, because we are leveraging Horizon 2020 funds to find solutions to many of the concrete challenges created by climate change. Allow me to share with you that around 600 million euros are already devoted to cultural heritage and safeguarding heritage at risk as one of the focus areas. And yes, the Commission will continue to support research and innovation activities for cultural heritage under Horizon Europe within the new cluster for culture, creativity, and inclusive society. And this will capitalize on already carried out research activities and will further promote the objectives of the European Green Deal. The second challenge, natural hazards. Just a year ago, Croatia was hit by a very strong earthquake. This caused considerable damage to cultural heritage sites, like the cemetery complex of Mirogoj in Zagreb. And this shows very well that supporting heritage sites in danger is to help the communities around them. And the fact that Mirogoj figures among the selected sites today shows the solidarity of this initiative. Nature can also act slowly through deterioration within the course of time. But the San Juan de Socueva chapel and Hermitage in Spain and the central post office building office in Skopje show us that we have to safeguard these used sites and buildings. Also, the unique infrastructure of the Aachen Railway in Tyrol, Austria, is at risk of fast deterioration, and there is a need to ensure its original and continuous function. And I think that the fact that this 2021 is the year of European Railway, it's a very good signal for all of us. And in this context, I would like just to mention what are the different instruments at our disposal and how it's important to join forces to create, to build synergies and to continue to work together in order to safeguard our cultural heritage. Of course, here I would like to mention Horizon Europe program. I already started with the new cluster on culture. It's really important to develop new cutting-edge technologies, green and digital tools, innovative ideas, and impactful solutions to restore, preserve, and protect monuments, buildings, and artifacts. And here, the third challenge that I would like to mention is conflict. It's so important that we continue to support culture because culture is a tool, the wonderful tool for peace, for more peaceful world. And I hear that we all have images of Palmyra, but what is important here is to see that the Chiani Monastery, its heritage, its monastic community, we have really to preserve them. So my really important plea is let's continue to use this 7 Most Endangered program as a positive signal, as a positive call to action. And we have instruments at our disposal. It's not only with Horizon Europe, it's not only with the new cluster dedicated to culture. I would like here to raise 3 more important aspects. On one side, we should build synergies with the European Institute of Innovation and Technology. Remember, next year we'll have new knowledge and innovation community dedicated to cultural and creative sectors. Creative Europe program is one of our good examples. Another important aspect, skills and knowledge. We have to pay a lot of attention to our young people because we are here sharing one so noble cause about our cultural heritage and his preservation. But we need to have the next generations with us to raise awareness, to make them appreciate what they have, the chance that they have to be here surrounded of so many cultural monuments. And that's why I must say that we'll pay a lot of attention with Discover EU, with Erasmus+, really to have our young people among us and to give them possibilities to have the necessary skills and competencies, not only to value the cultural heritage, but to help us to continue with his preservation. And here I would like to mention the key role of regions and cities. I think that it's absolutely important that we continue to work closely with them in order to be sure that actions can be very beneficial to this program and for many, many others. I'm so glad that together with Committee of the Regions, we have now a joint action plan for the next 2 years. I think in that one of the main areas, as its culture, we can continue to promote our strong cooperation and better coordination in order to see how regions and cities can help us for the preservation of cultural heritage. Final point, of course, we need cooperation across borders, not only within EU, but outside the European Union too, because cooperation also with heritage stakeholders, with international organizations, it's essential. And I'm really strongly committed to this work through our program supporting the cultural sector in partner countries. So, ladies and gentlemen, the work you do protecting our heritage and raising awareness of these challenges is of key importance. Indeed, we, the Commission, have just launched an initiative that embraces our heritage and builds on it, strengthening our diversity with it. I speak, of course, of the new European Bauhaus, and I'm particularly proud that I can count Europa Nostra among our first selected partners. Let me renew my invitation for all of you to share with us your ideas. Let's give us solutions to the challenges, bringing together cultural heritage, sustainability, and inclusion. Because our heritage is irreplaceable. To lose it is not only to lose buildings, traditions, art, it is to lose the bonds between us. Our communities have to overcome these environmental and man-made challenges. We cannot allow decay, neglect, or conflict to come between us. That is why your work and your dedication to cultural heritage are truly inspirational. And the 7 Most Endangered initiative is a big part of this. Congratulations to you all, and thank you. Thank you very much for inspiring us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Madam Commissioner, dear Maria. What a powerful, what inspiring, and what a positive message you have just shared with us. Thank you so much for your leadership, for your trust. And it was a wonderful way how you have bundled together these very different sites in very different parts of Europe, facing very different type of threats, but the way that you have put them together, but also also shown that there is hope and indicated so many avenues that exist, and the European Union also very much thanks to your leaderships have developed. It gives us really hope that we will very soon celebrate the removal of all those various sites that are on our list of danger, that they will become success stories, very much thanks to the joint action of civil society and the institutions, and in particularly such a strong commitment of the European Union for cultural heritage. Once again, thank you so much, and let's continue. We have a lot of work to do together. And so now I would like to invite all of you to join us for a small tour d'Europe. So we will play a short video on each one of the 7 selected sites, and then we will invite representatives from the heritage organizations that have nominated these sites to take the floor. We shall ask them to tell us briefly about the importance of the site in question, the dangers it faces, and what hopes they have from the inclusion on our 7 most endangered list. So let us start our tour d'Europe in Austria to take a ride in the 19th century Aachen-Seebahn steam cog railway. Video, please. So, Guten Morgen, Österreich.
Good
It is a
morning.
great pleasure to give the floor to Ms. Caroline Jäger-Klein, President of Most Austria. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you all for your pre-contributions. I am the president of Most Austria, who has nominated the Tyrolean Aachenseebahn, which is the probably worldwide oldest steam cog railway system, which is running as it was originated in the year 1889. It still has all the original parts, all the original equipment, and up till spring 2020, it was running as a touristical attraction, but also as a modern. In spring 2020, the company went bankrupt because the official subsidizations did not arrive. And so we started to raise awareness what is going on and what might be the danger for this whole system. The bankruptcy is no longer on, so this is already a first good news, which I can bring you, but there is not a clear vision how to go further with the money now the province is using again into the system. They are dreaming, the authorities are dreaming of making it totally shifting it into a modern transportation railway system, but then of course it would lose its cultural heritage values, as the value actually is that it is still running the way it was launched very long times ago. The other problem which occurred in 2020 was to find out that it is not protected under national law. And this is really a shame for a country like Austria, which really has a tradition in monument protection, I guess. But you see the limited awareness of what is cultural heritage. As it is a technical and industrial heritage, the authority was insecure what to do and how to protect it first. And we started an ICOMOS international alert to raise the awareness and also to show up what can be done and how it could be done. But the national authority somehow refused our support so far. I hope it will be better. The good news embedded into the whole thing is that now the courts of Austria, the High Court of Austria, is already on our side and supporting us, that the whole system with all its part has to be protected, and not just some locomotive or some kilometers of the steam, and not the full integrated system as it was. So I'm very glad that somehow we can contribute in that way to the 2021 European Railway Year, because it should also raise the awareness about the historic railway system, and that the historic railway system is not per se a contradiction to the European Green Deal, because we are not talking about the system to be run daily as a steam engine run. This is just for the tourists on the Sunday run, and it can in combination be done with a modern system without destroying the whole historic system. But we urgently need the support of Europa Nostra and the European Union and Investment Bank to raise this awareness that these are not contradictions, that this is fully a vision that can be done, that the Green Deal is not a contradiction to supporting our common cultural heritage, historic cultural heritage. So I'm very glad for this opportunity, and thanks to all who were so engaged in this, and also thanks to my colleagues from TICI. This is the Technical Committee on the Conservation of Industry in Austria and worldwide, all the ICOMOS colleagues worldwide and on the European side, and certainly all the people that are engaged in favor of the railway system, this historic railway system. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jäger-Klein. So we feel good to know that you are not alone anymore in that sort of mobilization to save the Aachenseebahn steam cog railway. The whole of Europe, The whole of Europa Nostra's network is with you. And as Commissioner Gabriel underlined, 2021 is the European Year of the Rail. Now, if there is a year to save an important piece of Europe's railway heritage, this is the year. So let's do it. And also Commissioner Gabriel mentioned the importance of regions and cities to save heritage. So somehow it seems that it is in the stars that we will be able all together to save this railway and to, as you have clearly said, to prove that there is no contradiction between a green transformation, the Green Deal for Europe, and the preservation of our heritage, if this is properly done in a sort of win-win strategy way. So thank you so much. Now, from Austria, we go to Croatia to visit the cemetery, the historic cemetery complex of Mirogoj, which has been severely damaged by 2 earthquakes in 2020. Video, please. So let us now see whether we will be able to establish the link with Zagreb. Do we have the connection with Madam Nina Obuljen-Koržinek, who is the Minister of Culture and Media of Croatia? Lijep pozdrav Zagrebu, dear Madam Minister, dear Nina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Commissioner Gabriel, dear Maria, dear Mr. Klause, dear Snezhka, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to address you today. And it is really a pleasure, even though I don't know if we can say a pleasure when we are talking about the most endangered sites, but still, it is a pleasure that we are here today for this announcement, and that we are here today to show our solidarity when we talk about cultural heritage. This honor bears a particular weight, in fact, for several reasons. First of all, we all know that cultural heritage is one of the strands of the cultural and creative sectors that has suffered the most during this ongoing pandemic. And to promote it in these difficult times and circumstances is crucial. And what better way to do it than by joining forces with Europa Nostra and your broad network of experts working tirelessly to safeguard and value our cultural heritage. As it was mentioned in this video and in your introduction, that Croatia was particularly reminded of these very exigencies twice in 2020, when powerful earthquakes hit the capital of Zagreb and the surrounding area in March and December, which caused considerable damage to cultural heritage sites. And these disastrous events revealed all the vulnerability and preciousness of our heritage, but also incited great solidarity and togetherness that we crave in such times. So I'm really grateful for the messages of support and acts of support from so many experts across Europe. One of the sites that was severely impacted was Mirogoj, the pantheon of Croatian culture and one of our most historically, architecturally and emotionally significant monuments. And this, in fact, motivated us to nominate the complex to the 7 Most Endangered program, and in doing so, highlight its value among the European and global public. The recovery of all affected sites, but especially of sites such as Mirogoj, that will carry its own set of specificities, will be long-lasting and require collaboration of a vast number of experts of different backgrounds and skills. And also it will require considerable financial effort, which will have to be invested. So we are grateful to the European Investment Bank Institute and its Heritage Grant for their contribution in this regard. At the end, I would like to say that our cooperation with Europa Nostra, as well as with the European Commission and Commissioner Gabriel, has been long-standing and fruitful, marked by a shared vision oriented towards advancing cultural heritage in all its forms. And this includes raising awareness, supporting quality intervention and projects, finding new ways to work together across disciplines and sectors, exchanging good practices, and envisioning the preserving its core values. We must at once think ahead and innovate, for heritage is the most pronounced symbol of our identities. And this is why I look forward to continuing on this path, even as we face a number of challenges and risks, from armed conflicts and excessive tourism to natural hazards, climate change, loss of traditional knowledge, and economic crisis brought on by the pandemic. All of this was mentioned by the previous speakers. On behalf of all the experts and collaborators included in this project, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Europa Nostra and the European Investment Bank Institute for recognizing the multifaceted nature and meaning of the multi-confessional cemetery complex of Mirogoj. You have given us additional impetus for its safeguarding and recovery. And with this, you acknowledged and encouraged our mutual efforts towards fostering cultural heritage and galvanizing all stakeholders and wider public to care for it and pass it on to the generations to come. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Minister, dear Nina, for your moving words, because we can only imagine how difficult challenges you're facing, you, your team, your country. So indeed, in the inclusion of the historic multi-confessional cemetery complex of Mirogoj on our list is a very small token of our support and an expression of solidarity, wishing you every strength. But we hope, as you have just said, that this, however small, modest, symbolic support we can give you, that will give you strength and encouragement to find the necessary resources, the skills. You have them. We know that Croatia have excellent restorers, excellent experts that can restore it, but resources are necessary at the time, as you mentioned, a time not also of pandemic that are so challenging. So we very much hope to continue working closely with you, and we want to thank you once again to you and your team, because we all remember the conference organized in Dubrovnik. That was the last time we traveled and we see each other in person in February 2020, end of February, just 2 weeks before half of the planet went into lockdown. And that was, we cherish that memory of all of us together talking about fostering cooperation for saving Europe's endangered heritage. So there is a very strong bond within us, and so we shall continue working together. Now, we shall sail from the Adriatic to the Aegean, to the 5 southern Aegean islands in Greece with their beautiful Cycladic landscape. Video, please. we shall go to Athens. Do we have the connection with Athens? Kalimera, Athens. It is a great pleasure for me to give the floor to Lydia Karas, President of Elleniketeria, also the country representation of Europa Nostra in Greece. Dear Lydia, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Sneska. Dear Commissioner, dear friends of Europa Nostra and the European Investment Bank, dear participants, Kalimera. Today's event we think is particularly important for our European heritage. Europa Nostra's award scheme, which is so valued throughout Europe, acknowledges the efforts of so many who apply excellence in their work of restoration. The moments awards are handed to recipients are moments that unite all Europeans in a common celebration, really precious moments we can all share. The 7 Most Endangered is a more difficult and, in my mind, an even more mature exercise. It shows that we in Europe, and for the sake of our heritage, are prepared to criticize our own authorities and ask the help of civil society in other countries to save a monument, a site, a landscape. We ask this help after we have used all our energy to save it, and humbly and unashamedly ask for European help. This, I think, is Europe at its best, understanding each other's concerns and giving support on occasions of difficulty. Elleniketeria and a wide spectrum of citizens in Greece, who are, by the way, have joined us today, are very grateful for your selection of the island of the Aegean as one of the most endangered in Europe this year. These islands of the Aegean still remain a place where human beings can feel God's creation. They are small, little dots on our planet, but the beauty of this creation is reflected in pristine landscapes that mix with the sea, and where people over the centuries have created villages and monuments in harmony with nature. Yes, the islands do need renewable energy, but for their local needs. They should not be turned into industrial zones with colossal wind turbines for the production of energy to be used by cities. Greece needs renewable energy, and it is already in a position to fulfill the quota required by Europe. We believe in renewable energy for our country, but with the right zoning. So, the acknowledgement of the importance of this issue will give new hope to all these communities and to many others who are asking our support, and will allow us to intensify our campaign. These islands hopefully will be preserved and remain for Greeks and Europeans to enjoy. Thank you very much. Ευχαριστώ.
Evcharisto, dear Lydia, thank you for this poetic and powerful message. I like when you said there are little dots on our planet, but their beauty is so, so big. And indeed, our task is also to preserve the little dots, because the little dots are so much important part of our Europe. And thank you for stressing that we must find the right balance between the development of renewable energies. We are all committed to it. And that is what our European Cultural Heritage Green Paper, that was mentioned several times, stresses, that we are fully, of course, embracing the objectives of the Green Deal, but we are asking for proper consultation, proper zoning on the location of, in particularly, very invasive wind turbine constructions. So this is, in fact, the example of the islands, the 5 Aegean islands that have been included on our list, shows that that's how not to do. So we want to showcase the cases how to do, but also as part of the new European Bauhaus that Commissioner Gabriel also mentioned. And this is also one of the messages that we want to pass, that indeed the green transformation, including renewable energy, is possible, but it should not be at the expense of the preservation of the beauty of such exceptional places that Europe is so rich with. So thank you, and let us hope that these messages will be heard by all those who are taking the decision, and that they will, in fact, fully incorporate sort of the voices of civil society and Europa Nostra as well in the consideration about the siting or not siting of these wind turbines in the 5 Aegean islands. So now, from the Aegean, we will sail via the Adriatic, and then we go to Italy. And then we will take probably the train and then go to Verona to visit the Giardino Giusti. Video, please. Do we have, yes, I see Gianni Perbellini, so it is a great pleasure for me to give the floor to Professor Gianni Perbellini, former president of the Europa Nostra Scientific Council and honorary life member of Europa Nostra. Caro Gianni, la parola è a te.
Snežka, io ti ringrazio innanzitutto. Thank you, Snežka, and thank you to Europa Nostra and to the European Investment Bank for the attention and the solidarity. The terrible damage that climate change is causing and will continue to cause also to our precious Europa monuments heritage, it's a very serious and relevant problem. And in this case, I will thank the Commissioner, Mary Gabriel, for the attention and the solidarity that give us this morning during the presentation. Giardino Giusti, a site in which the prototype of the Italian garden was created in an urban context, this is important, in an urban context, was the victim of an exceptional climatic storm that shocked the entire city of Verona in Italy, causing damage to property and people. It is essential that the whole Europe becomes aware of how much these streets can have an impact on our cultural heritage. And it is essential to understand how to move to limit the damage and prepare preventive strategies in town, not only in country, but particularly in town. In a moment of profound crisis which affect the cultural sites, monuments, and the museum in their core, Europe must be able to rediscover the reason and the pride to defend those cultural emergencies which represent its historical roots, in particular green roots. In this perspective, the active conservation of a green space such as Giardino Giusti also became a preparatory step for those actions that at urban level should be carried out in synergy with the necessary large-scale reforms. On a social level, the offer of a green space of great beauty gives the possibility of reducing the frantic search for spaces to keep, consume, and eventually degrade to satisfy tourism, but also city leisure. A green space so strongly pervaded by culture, history, and arts is didactically indispensable for social acculturation, especially at the end of the pandemic. We therefore hope that the inclusion of the Giardino Giusti garden in the list of the 7 most endangered sites will pay due attention to the importance of making conservation strategies aimed to reduce the impact of the climate changes and the social order that we are today going through. Thank you very much for your attention and your solidarity.
Grazie, grazie Gianni. It is great to see you in action, as we always knew you, to sort of draw attention of Europa Nostra to important aspects of Europe's heritage, and particularly in your country, Italy, in your city, Verona. So we very, very much hope that by including Giardino Giusti on our list, we will help really public and private support to help also the family Giusti to revitalize and restore this jewel of Europe's garden heritage. Now, from Italy, we will, arrivederci Italia, we go to, we shall go to the Western Balkans, to Kosovo, to visit the World Heritage Site of the Chiani Monastery. Video, please. The nomination of the Chiani Monastery for our 7 Most Endangered program was made by a most active member of our European Heritage Alliance, the Future for Religious Heritage. And it is my great pleasure now to give the floor to Madam Pilar Bahamonde, President of the Future for Religious Heritage. Buenos días, España. Do we have the connection with Spain? Buenos días. Yeah, we hear you very well. We hear you and we see you. Buenos días, Pilar.
Buenos días. Good morning to everyone, all through Europe on this beautiful day, a day of importance for heritage, a day from Cantabria, this magnificent religious building I am working in from the 14th century, reused as a cultural center. So, and one of the 12 hosts of European Culture in Action. So, on behalf of FRH, I thank Europa Nostra for inviting us as not for organization safeguarding and promoting of Europe's rich religious heritage. I am very pleased to see that the Commissioner Maria Gabriel is here too. And, you know, religious buildings are unique repositories of European history. They remind us of the richness and diversity of our culture and of our European roots and identity. Many religious buildings are in a poor state, as we see, of repair, and the future of many others is for multiple reasons under threat. A program like this one, a program like this one is vital to raise awareness in the citizenship about the importance of its preservation and safeguard, for that it can be passed on to generations to come, and showcases that governments, civil society, and religious organizations need to work together to ensure its future. In 2020, it was the first time that the 7 Most Endangered program opened also for contributions from members of the European Heritage Alliance. So very grateful for this opportunity. FRH consulted its members to bring forward specific cases from all over Europe. Many different cases were brought to our attention, and these resulted in FRH submitting in September 2020 3 religious heritage sites to be nominated as candidates for inclusion in the 7 Most Endangered program. All 3 representing a different threat: the Chiani Monastery in Kosovo, San Juan De Socueva in Spain, and the Church of Saint Denis in Saint-Omer, France. All 3 very different cases, all 3 made it to the shortlist and were presented for final selection. This status of being shortlisted already raised a lot of attention and awareness, and all this attention was warmly welcomed. So we are presenting here today 2 religious sites which have been selected for the program. And you know, the idea that support will be given through this program to these sites to contribute and ensure a sustainable future is very welcome. It is even more beautiful in the year of FRH's 10th anniversary that in this way, too, attention is being given to religious heritage and its significance for Europe. So the first one selected, this beautiful the Chiani Monastery in Kosovo. I would like to emphasize in how the creatively combined elements of Eastern and Western artistic expressions are shown, and its encyclopedic ensemble of frescoes in Serb Byzantine style and Romanesque Gothic architecture and sculptural decoration. The Chiani Monastery is the most distinguished heritage ensemble of its time. It was built in the first half of 14th century, and this Serbian Orthodox Christian monastery is enveloped by a beautiful forest which forms part of the surrounding cultural landscape, which is inseparable from its priceless cultural heritage. So being continuously inhabited for almost 7 centuries, the Chiani Monastery is a functioning monastery with daily liturgical services and an active monastic community, and safeguards the intangible heritage also of monastic life. Besides being an important place of worship, it is a place open to pilgrims as well as visitors of all faiths. The Chiani Monastery was inscribed in the World Heritage List as a single site in 2004, and in 2006, this was extended to 3 other Serbian Orthodox Church monasteries and churches in Kosovo. Since then, all 4 sites have been inscribed on the UNESCO list of World Heritage Endangered, and ever since the last years of the 90s, the Chiani Monastery has been continuously guarded by the NATO-led for peacekeeping troops. It is the only monument in Europe under such robust international protection for a continuous period of 20 years. The monastery and its special protective zone are facing ongoing risks, which could undermine the values of a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Especially worrying is the plan for an international road that would pass next to the monastery. The situation required to be closely monitored Monastery, a monument of outstanding historical and cultural importance for Europe and the world, as confirmed by its World Heritage status, is listed amongst the 7 most endangered. By including this endangered site in the short list for 2021, Europa Nostra clearly demonstrates its readiness to assist all parties concerned with formulating the necessary protection measures which would ensure the safeguard of the World Heritage Site of the Chiani Monastery for present and future generations. We hope this will serve as a catalyst of dialogue. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Pilar. Thank you, first of all, for highlighting in general the importance of Europe's religious heritage, and we are really grateful for the cooperation that we have with Future for Religious Heritage, and thank you for being so active, participating in this 7 Most Endangered program, and thank you for highlighting the huge importance of the World Heritage Site of the Chiani Monastery, and especially ending again with that positive note that by including it on that list, we all together, Europe all together, wishes to sort of contribute to find sort of the use this site as a bridge, as a place for dialogue and cultural heritage, as something that will really contribute to a lasting peace in the wider region. And I want just to extend on behalf of all of us special greetings to Father Sava Janic, Father Superior of the Chiani Monastery, who is with us, who is closely following this online event. And I know that he looks very much forward to welcoming many heritage lovers from all over Europe to the Chiani Monastery as soon as it will be possible to travel and meet again. So very special greetings to the Chiani Monastery and to Father Sava and to entire monastic community in Chiani. So before going to the 2 final places that have been selected, I just want to give the floor briefly back to Commissioner Maria Gabriel. It is extraordinary that she's still with us. Just shows how much she's committed to this program, to the cause and the cause of cultural heritage, but she has to leave. So already, I think we have taken quite a lot of your time. We know how everybody wants to have you. So you have to leave us now, but I would just like to thank you once again and to give you the floor for your final message.
Thank you. Thank you very much, dear Snezka, dear friends of cultural heritage. I would like to say big thank you. Thank you very much for this emotional moment, for this particularly important moment. And I would like really to say here some very, very short sentences about 3 key messages that I felt today from your interventions, for your work. The first key word is dedication. Every one of you, the communities around you, we need people like you, engaged, mobilized, respectful to our cultural heritage, and with real care for our next generations. Second, balance and hope for future. The 7 Most Endangered program is about showing us how traditional and modern can advance together. There is no contradiction between safeguarding our cultural heritage and making an essential part of the new realities and new developments. Third, solidarity for being catalyst. We need to work together. European Commission, Europa Nostra, cities, regions, citizens, everyone can contribute. So thank you very much. Thank you, Europa Nostra, for showing us how with dedication we have more chances to find the right balance, and how with positive energy and solidarity, moments like this one can be a real catalyst for positive developments for all of us as Europeans, as citizens, as friends of the cultural heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam Commissioner Di Maria. wonderful words that we will cherish, and we will count on you, and you can count on us. Just let's do it. Let's save these sites, and let's celebrate their lasting and sustainable and positive future. So wishing you all the best with the rest of your very busy program today and this week. And once again, thank you for having been with us. So dear colleagues and friends, we shall now remain in the Balkans, and we shall travel to North Macedonia to visit the 20th century Central Post Office in Skopje. Video, please. So, Dobry den, Skopje. We have the connection. It is a great pleasure for me to give the floor to Zuzana Kasowska-Georgieva from the Institute for Research in Environment, Civil Engineering and Energy. The floor is yours.
Dobar den, Sneška. Dobar den na site. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity to talk on this beautiful event. Thanks to the collaboration with and the program team support of the 7 Most Endangered, we could achieve several important milestones on the way towards the optimal political and functional setting and development of the unique Brutalist heritage site. My name is Zuzana Kasowska-Georgieva, Vice Director of the Institute for Research in Environment, Civil Engineering and Energy, the nominating organization of the Central Post Office in Skopje, North Macedonia. With me are another 2 team members, Vlagica Stojčevska, Head of Civil Engineering and Investment Department from the Post Company, and Georgi Georgiev, Strategy Consultant from Germany. Many thanks to the Minister, Irena Stefovska from the Ministry of Culture of North Macedonia, and Ralph Kilian and Joanna Leisner from Fraunhofer in Germany for the moral support. The Central Post Office is a remarkable building located in Skopje and represents the modernist, brutalist architectural style of the post-war era built in 1974. The building's exceptionally powerful structure is made of reinforced concrete in the shape of a lotus flower, symbol of the reconstruction of the city of Skopje after the heavy, destructive earthquake in 1963. The building survived a massive fire in 2013, at which the original glazing of the dome and the murals were completely lost or suffered serious damage. As the building still has no roof, it suffers from direct exposure to atmospheric influences with rain and snow penetrating its interior. The future of the Central Post Office is uncertain, considering the degree of its damage and that buildings of this shape and construction are very, very complex to renovate. That is why the inclusion of the 7 Most Endangered 2021 list is important for us, as the coordinating project team is committed to functionally redesign the building as a center for cultural and social activities with a focus on both local and international audiences, which will deepen the understanding, knowledge, and awareness of the cultural heritage as a key source for sustainable community development. The main goal is the sustainable transformation of the Central Post Office of Skopje into a sustainable functioning organism, which will be an active part of the urban fabric of Skopje, as well as venue for cultural, educational, and political events on national and international level. Once again, our sincere thanks to Europa Nostra, 7 Most Endangered, and all involved experts. We are looking forward to collaboration with the European Investment Bank on the future business, financing and funding framework for this architectural and cultural phenomenon in Skopje. Thank you, Europa Nostra, again.
Thank you so much, dear Susanna, for your commitment, and we very much hope that by including this central post office building, a very outstanding building in Skopje, that it will help all partners who are dedicated to giving a new life to this place, and as part also of the European path of North Macedonia. Let's hope also that with the help also from the European Union institution, this will indeed, that dream will become reality. And to end, we go to the last site on our list. We go back to Cantabria in Spain to visit the ancient Hermitage and chapel of San Juan de Socueva. Video, please. And to present briefly this exceptional site, we go back to Pilar Paramonde, President of the Future for Religious Heritage.
So again with me, good morning again to everyone. And as we stated before, FRH thanks Europa Nostra and the European Investment Bank Institute for including another religious building in this list. You know, Europe is made up of many local heritages, both tangible and intangible, architectural, religious heritage, spread all through the continent, in big cities, hills, coasts, valleys, small villages, is the most important physical marker of them all. I am delighted to see that in this way, Europa Nostra has again highlighted the vital importance of this heritage and the danger it faces. And so we are proud and grateful to be able to present again another gem. This time is a cave hermitage from the 7th century in the Rocky Mountains of Spain, a stunning and dramatic landscape in the very north of Spain. This site came to our attention from the General Directorate of Heritage of Cantabria government, who has a project which called for tenders will soon be opened for its correct preservation and restoration. We would like to thank as well Hispania Nostra for putting the red flag to it as well and give it support. San Juan de Socueva, let me tell you, that is an ancient hermitage and chapel set in a high place into an amazing mountain wall carved, from where you can contemplate down the municipality of Arredondo, Cantabria, in the very north of Spain. The chapel, which has recently been dated back to 660 or to 680 before Christ, still maintains its religious function, before Christ, not before Christ, still maintains its religion function, and it's deeply rooted in the community where it belongs. Yeah? And it belongs to an ensemble of human inhabitants from the prehistorical times. Now we are talking about prehistory. So the chapel's square nave has a sloping north wall on natural stone and a south wall on masonry and plaster. It is amazing. It's separated from the apse with its backlit altar by a screen topped with a horseshoe opening. And along the outside portico wall, there is a 19th century neoclassical altar with a niche for an image of St. John the Baptist. Now, the state of conservation of San Juan de Socueva is very worrying. The portico is in an advanced state of disrepair. To visitors who can enter freely and take elements and cause other damages. They can even could even step on top of the portico and start climbing. Since the monument is not physically protected, the deterioration of the chapel continues, of course. So until the process of analysis, research, diagnosis, and conservation is completed, a protective enclosure is needed due to its imminent risk of collapse. The European cultural dimension of this religious building is as well beyond any doubt, because it is the most antique religious construction of Cantabria and the whole north of Spain. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Pilar. I can feel the energy. I can feel the sort of determination. So with the support of the Future for Religious Heritage, Hispania Nostra, Europa Nostra, European Investment Bank Institute, we will do it. And there will be a future for this exceptional religious heritage sites. So once again, thank to you, and also thank to Lilian Grootsvager, who is the representative of the Future for Religious Heritage in the advisory panel of this program. So let's continue to work together. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends, our virtual tour of Europe is ending again in The Hague. We have visited virtually the 7 irreplaceable heritage treasures which are facing various forms of threats and which have been selected by the Europa Nostra for the 2021 edition of our 7 Most Endangered program. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. Many other sites across Europe are calling for our help. They are facing different pressures and risks, and we should find a way to respond to their call as well. We, of course, applaud the tireless commitment of local communities, experts, organizations, civil society, all across our Europe, who are determined against all odds to save endangered heritage treasures. But of course, we want to do much more than applaud. We want to give them concrete support, and we want to work together. The real work starts today. We are going to organize what's next, basically. We are going to organize a series of conversations, for the time being via Zoom, but as soon as possible, we will visit these 7 most endangered sites. The visits will be done by an interdisciplinary group of experts composed, nominated by Europa Nostra and by our partners, the European Investment Bank Institute. And we will do our utmost to serve, as we have heard all through this event, as a catalyst for positive change. All in all, I just want to recall, before closing, why are we doing all this? And I think several speakers during this event has said, why is heritage so important, and why we should not let heritage sites go, and why we have to save the endangered heritage? Because they are part of our DNA. They are part of who we are as Europe, as inhabitants of this extraordinary continent. And I just want to share with you this essay called Togetherness, signed by our executive president, Professor Herman Patzinger. And this essay was published by our partners, European Investment Bank. An essay recently published, which make a plea, in fact, that because heritage is so important for our sense of togetherness, that's why we need a true new heritage deal for Europe. So I invite you to read this document and to sort of, if you are still wondering, why are we doing all this and why should Europe bother, read it and I'm sure it will give you some additional motivation and encouragement to continue the important work, our important joint cause. Before closing, I wish to thank all nominators, all members of the advisory panel, and all members of the Europa Nostra board who took part in the selection process of the 7 Most Endangered program. And let me, of course, also add a word of praise to the Europa Nostra Dream Team, who has worked hard to prepare this online event. The team led by Sara Zanini, coordinator of the 7 Most Endangered program. A big applause for Sara, Beppe, Lorena, Joanna, Vicky, Walter, and the rest of our team. And last but not least, many thanks to all of you who have joined us for this event in all parts of Europe. Thank you for joining our efforts to save endangered sites in Europe. Thank you for signaling us other sites which need our support, and possibly for nominating some of these sites for the next edition of our 7 Most Endangered program in 2022. Goodbye, and let's keep in touch.